If you're sleeping like crap, you might have insomnia. Insomnia is defined as persistent sleeping difficulties, persistent being 3 or more nights per week for a month, and that's persistent sleeping difficulties even given adequate opportunity and circumstance. So even if you have the right amount of time, the right setup to fall asleep comfortably, you still sleep like crap. Now, sleep is so freaking important. People don't realize, people think that when you're asleep, you're like not doing much. When you are asleep, your brain is extremely active. It is not a passive state. We don't really know why we sleep in much detail, like scientifically speaking, but we know that it's important. We know that people who do not sleep die earlier, get more illness, everything's shitter. So we need to sleep. Now in this video, I'm going to talk a bit about insomnia and I'm going to talk a bit about its management, but the management in terms of the sleep hygiene side of things is useful for everyone. I use it, you should use it, you should tell your friends to use it, you should be a bloody advocate for it, because sleeping well will make you a happier, more connected, just anything positive. Insert positive anecdote or positive comment here. That's what sleep will do for you. Just positivity. All right, let's go. Also, before we begin, my name's Dr. Sil. I'm a junior doctor working in Sydney, Australia. In my free time, I like to make YouTube videos, usually about mental health and about medicine, but this, sleep is very important for good mental health. So let's talk about that. Now, we've already talked about kind of definition of insomnia, the persistent sleeping difficulties for more than a month, even given the right, adequate sleeping environment and opportunity. What I want to also say is that the prevalence is high. It is very common. 1 in 3 people, just under 1 in 3 people experience insomnia, and 1 in 10 experience insomnia so severe that it's clinically significant, that it's impairing their function at work or in their relationships. Now, insomnia can be a short-term thing or a long-term thing, meaning that it can be chronic. It can be problems with initiation of sleep, with maintenance of sleep, or waking up early from sleep. It can be all those things, but in this video, let's just talk about some of the general management principles, things you can do to improve your sleep. The first management principle that you have to do to improve your sleep is to read the book Why We Sleep. Now, this book is fantastic. I actually listened to the audiobook. At one point I did fall asleep while listening to it, but he does make the point to say that it's okay to fall asleep because unlike other authors, you won't get offended by it. It talks about how important sleep is and what happens when you don't sleep enough. So once we all agree that sleep is super important, then we can go to the next management principles. Principle number 2, which is good sleep hygiene. Now, good sleep hygiene starts during the day, okay? It starts at 4 p.m. specifically, because after 4 p.m, no more caffeinated drinks at all. No coffee, no tea, no Coke, no energy drinks, none of it. All right, just stop. You don't need it after 4 p.m, just stop. The second point is exercise is really important for sleeping well, but you don't want to do it too close to sleep. So try and exercise no closer to going to bed than 2 hours. So 2 hours between finishing your workout and going to bed. And then 1 hour before falling asleep is when the sensory input needs to start toning down. This is when your phone goes on do not disturb so you don't get notifications. This is where you stop with blue lights, so you start looking at red lights. Now, blue lights are on all the kind of monitors and phones unless you turn on night mode. So try and use warm lights. That warm red color is much more calming than the bright blue color on lots of screens like computer monitors. So start toning all the things down, start turning off the major lights in the house, and maybe just have lamps on around, kind of toning the sensations down. That's what we're aiming for. The next sleep hygiene point to talk about is stimulus control. So this is, as you're winding down, go to bed when you're tired. If you're not tired, don't go to bed yet. And when you go to bed, do not do anything but either read, sleep, and sex, okay? So just those, so except for sex, the low intensity things, just calm, lying in bed, reading, not on your phone, you're not watching TV shows, you're associating your bed with sleep. All right, that's the goal. Because if you start watching movies in bed, then your bed becomes a place where you can either sleep or watch movies. And the goal is to change that connection in your mind to a place where you just sleep. And if you cannot fall asleep, then change rooms. Okay, leave your bed, break that connection. Because if you can't sleep in your bed, then you're going to connect it with a place that you can't sleep in, and that's way worse. So give it 10 to 20 minutes. If you feel like you're still not tired after 20 minutes, change room, do another calming activity in the other room. Get yourself a puzzle, read a chilled book, whatever works for you to calm down. You can also use relaxation strategies to help make you more tired when you're in bed. I don't use many of these, but body scans and mindfulness meditation techniques can really help some people fall asleep quicker. Sleep restriction strategies, where you only give yourself a certain amount of hours in the day to fall asleep, and then you have to get out of bed even if you're tired. And this is best done in conjunction with a sleep specialist or a doctor, and it's pretty, like, you have to kind of take a sleep diary, and it involves a couple of steps. So I feel like we talked a lot about sleep hygiene, and that is because that's the most important management principle. The second option to work in addition to the sleep hygiene principles are medications. There are medications that help you sleep, but many of these are hypnotics and should not be used long term, and should only be used, whilst you establish the other therapies, or whilst you're going through a tough time. So yes, I've seen, these medications being prescribed for short-term periods when people can't sleep well, such as if you're in a hospital admission, because no one sleeps well in a hospital, by the way, if you didn't know. It's just the very loud environments with lots of beeps, but sometimes they have, medications can be helpful for those short periods of poor sleep. But I'm not even going to talk about all the different types of medications that are out there, because it's something you should talk to your GP about, and you should be very judicious in thinking about it. And you certainly shouldn't just get advice from a random YouTuber, junior doctor, intern about whether to start medications for your insomnia. Look at all the non-medication type things first, try them properly, give them a really good go before you try the medications. And then if you do end up going for the medication route, which is an adjunctive thing, it's not a replacement, it's not one or the other, you use them together. If you do end up using the medications, then it's a bridging course. You take it for a little while whilst you establish a good sleep hygiene and a good kind of sleep system for you. So that's it for the video. You can now go off to bed. I hope you sleep well. I hope you're not watching this video while lying in bed, by the way. That would be a very bad sleep hygiene. If you found that video helpful, you can consider leaving the video a like, or you can subscribe to the channel. And other than that, you can now go to sleep and have an absolutely lovely day. All right, bye for now.